Question number 9 on your Math 1105 Test 1 review gives you a function that is a rational function. Remember, rational function means that it's a ratio, thus the word rational, of two polynomial functions. One thing to be cautious about with a rational function, when there's a variable in a denominator, you need to watch out for restricted values. Remember, a restricted value is a value that if you put it into the function would cause the denominator to become 0. So, in this particular problem, come with me to the paper. If I ask you, here we go, if I ask you to find the domain of this function, the x plus 2 is of no concern to me whatsoever. The numerator can be positive, negative, or 0. That's fine. The concern is in the denominator. What would cause me trouble, okay, big trouble, is if the denominator, if x squared minus 7x became 0. That would cause me trouble. That's what I want to avoid. But let's find the trouble. Let's find out what makes the denominator become 0. By factoring this expression as x times x minus 7, we see that there are two things that would cause this to become 0. Either 0 itself or 7. So, there are two numbers that are troublemakers. 0 is trouble, 7 is trouble. So we avoid those. So the domain of this function, meaning what I'm allowed to put in for x, or in English, what I'm allowed to feed it, I can put in any value, any real number for x that I want to, as long as x is not equal to 0 or 7. That's a perfectly correct way to write the answer to this problem. Another way to write the answer is using interval notation. If I drew a number line and I threw out 0, okay, let's find 0. Let's say 0 is right here. If I put an open circle to exclude it, if I throw out the number 7, I'll put an open circle to exclude it. The domain would be any real number except for the troublemakers. And if I wrote that in interval notation, it's in 3 segments. I could write this as negative infinity to 0. Make sure to use a paren, not a bracket, because 0 is not included. Union. The middle segment would go from 0 to 7. And the last segment, union, would go from 7 to positive infinity. So there are two correct ways to write the answer to that problem. You can either use set builder notation or you can use interval notation. Just pay attention to the directions on your test.